Welcome to the Estacada School District's 90-day rollout. My name is Ryan Carpenter, and I so proudly serve as the superintendent for the Estacada Schools. And I'm so happy today to speak to our community, our parents, our students, our employees, and viewers from around the country as the Estacada School District transparently rolls out its overall progress towards the strategic plan collaboratively designed by the Estacada community. Why do we do this? Healthy organizations consistently monitor critical data like the engagement of staff and satisfaction of internal and external stakeholders. Often, this is accomplished with the use of surveys administered to stakeholders of the organization. The key to these surveys is not the data itself. The key is how well leaders share the data with their staff and stakeholders, and how well leaders communicate the action that will be taken based on feedback from the survey data. This transparent communication process is what we call rolling out results. The better we can communicate results, the greater opportunity we have to create a team approach to problem solving. Today's rollout represents the progress made from all school district buildings, departments, and systems towards the big aims of our strategic plan over the last 90 days. Twice a year, the Estacada School District conducts these rollouts to transparently share our improvement efforts using an evidence-based leadership methodological framework as we aspire to hardwire organizational excellence for our kids, our community, and our employees. And the Estacada School District's mission is to equip all students with the knowledge and skills to be resourceful and successful, and by the year 2030, to be considered a premier school district in the state of Oregon. And our values are to inspire, engage, and achieve. We also want to have a best place to work culture inside our organization. And in order for that culture to live inside our hallways, we've made a commitment to our standards of excellence, which is collaboration, respect, consistency, innovation, empathy, and perseverance. This is year 5 of our 5-year strategic plan. And inside the district's strategic plan contains 5 core pillars that the Estacada community has determined for us and its vision for success of its children. This rollout will share the strategies, data, and wins collected and improvements needed for each building and department in correlation to each of these 5 pillars. Here is the Estacada School District 2023 organizational scorecard as we hold ourselves accountable to accomplishing what we said we would accomplish inside the strategic plan. The areas that are marked in green are areas where we established a goal, and over the course of this school year, we hit or exceeded those benchmark goals. The areas in yellow are areas where we fell just short of our benchmark goal, but we did see improvement year over year. And the area marked in red, you can see that we did not hit our benchmark goal, and in fact, saw a downward trajectory in our improvement work. Over the course of this presentation, you will see so many leaders talk to you about our rollout and our strategies of how we intend to keep doing the things that are working for us, maintain more improvement in those yellow areas, and either adopt, adapt, or abandon new strategies as an effort to turn those reds into greens. After a successful 5 years facing unprecedented challenges in public education, we are now at the end of our 5-year strategic plan. I'd like to share some of the wins we experienced during this time, as well as invite you to join us in celebrating our strategic plan completion on June 21st at 5 p.m. in the Estacada High School Commons. We would love to have you join us. Now let us talk about some of these wins. Over the past 4 years, we have received the esteemed Oregon Top Workplaces recognition. We're the only Oregon school district to have received this honor this many times. In 2020, we became one of 14 school districts across the world to receive a Solution Tree Award for a model PLC school district. During the pandemic, our innovative work to feed and serve students was recognized by the Katie Couric Show, Time Magazine, and even featured in a Mountain Dew commercial. Our success continues to receive the spotlight at the national level, with school district leaders speaking at education conferences around the country. Estacada High School continues to be recognized as a U.S. News & World Report's best high school, and your superintendent recently was recognized as a superintendent to watch for excellence in communication. We also just recently received a prestigious award for our financial reporting. Additional successes include last year's graduation rate, which was the highest in school history. We also have a historic ninth grade on-track record. We have an industry-leading 92% employee retention rate, and parents gave us 4 out of 5 stars for satisfaction. Our district has applied for and been awarded more than $7 million in grants and donations to address our aging facilities, and we are proactively adjusting to serve a growing student population. Over the past 5 years, we have seen a 12% increase in our student population. Families are choosing to be a part of this thriving district. So you can see as we review our mission, vision, and values that we are in fact living our true and shared vision of the Estacada School District being considered a premier school district in the state of Oregon. I am so excited for you to see every single leader inside our school district, and as they transparently and vulnerably roll out their wins, their barriers, and their next steps as we continue to make Estacada schools thrive together. Please enjoy.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Berman, Director of Teaching and Learning for elementary schools, and today I'm here to talk to you about our Student Success Pillar and the updates for our spring data collection. To start with, our pillar really uses 2 big measures, and you will see some wins from this and some areas for improvement. But one of the measures that we use is our PLC survey data. And you can see that we have seen some growth, and I'm excited to talk about those later on. We also use our readiness indicator dashboard, and this is a dashboard that collects from all of our students K-12, their attendance data, their work completion data, and their proficiency on our essential learning standards. We look at this weekly and use it to make decisions so that we can support our students in the best way possible. Our big wins, like I said, our PLC data in the fall, we scored a 4.07 and set a goal to score a 4.12. I do believe that because of some strategic next step action plans that we had in the fall, we ended up scoring a 4.24, which is a big jump in our scoring. And again, I believe that is because of some strategic next step action plans that we put in place in the fall, where we had our administrators using an evidence-based improvement rounding questions. And they went into PLCs and they started supporting what was happening in the process, as well as looking at data specifically and using it as a way to make sure our priorities are correct and that we are collecting the correct data and having the right conversations. And because of that, PLC teams saw some growth and felt really supported in that work. So we saw that increase. So that's a great win for our department. Another big piece is that readiness indicator dashboard that we talked about, that we look at weekly. I can say a big win for us is that every building is using that dashboard with fidelity so that they can make decisions for students, whether that's if they're invited for read day or they're in an intervention or they're getting an extension. But the great part is that for the first time, we can say everyone is looking at the same data and using that to make the best decisions for our students, K-12. Another big win is that we have been working on continuous improvement in the classroom and student ownership of their learning. And because of that, we started improvement walkthroughs, and we have completed 7 district walkthroughs this year, which meant that 90% of our core teachers have been observed in this walkthrough. And we've been able to hear from students and staff on how they're doing in their continuous improvement journey. With that, I'm going to introduce Mr. Scott Sullivan. He'll talk about our opportunities.
Thank you, Ms. Berman. My name is Scott Sullivan, Director of Teaching and Learning for Secondary Schools for the Estacada School District. And as you just heard, we use a lot of data in the work that we do. We've talked about some wins. It's my opportunity to talk about opportunities that our district has. Our first big opportunity that we have is that even though we have 76% of our students meeting proficiency in 80% or more of their essential learning standards, that means we have equivalent of almost 25%, or specifically 24% of our students not meeting proficiency in their standards. So we have a long way to go to get where we want, and that is all students learning at a high level. Another big opportunity that we have is addressing our attendance. Our attendance is, in general, not a terrible measure. If we compare ourselves to the rest of the state, we're not doing real bad. But what we are doing is we're not addressing it quick enough. We use 80% measure as a key to let us know that students are struggling. By the time they get there, we may have passed through 2 or 3 or 4 months of school, and then it makes it hard to catch back up. So we're going to be looking at a new way to identify those students sooner so we can make more detailed and more immediate interventions. So our key next steps as a department is that we're going to change our attendance indicator in the dashboards to help us identify those students sooner and provide those interventions before it's too late during the school year. In addition to that, we want to continue to foster a system of supporting our buildings in tracking our PLC rounding and in continuous improvement work, as they currently are using different methods to gather data and look at it, and we're going to try to standardize that in the near future. One more area of next steps we'd like to talk about is the increased use of our maturity model feedback form for coaching opportunities in growth. We are currently doing a big mass push in identifying the strengths and weaknesses of our maturity model. We're going to update that maturity model form, and we're going to try to make sure that we have some consistent K-12 expectations and understandings of what that data means. And the last big next step that our department would like to make is to align our expectations for K-12 teachers and students during read days. Right now, we have different expectations and different outcomes that are taking place, K-5 and 6-12, and we're going to try to bring that together so that we're all working the same and everyone's experiencing, every family is experiencing the same opportunities. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Jason Hobson, and I serve as the Director of Student Services for the Estacada School District. Today, I'm here to talk about our Inclusive Culture Pillar. And our Inclusive Culture Pillar is made up of 3 different surveys that we take throughout the year. One being collecting our student voice in our student experience survey. Another one is our employee engagement survey. And lastly, our district services survey. I'm going to talk about our student experience survey today, and I'm going to invite my friends Kelly Hayes and Lisa Akins, and they're both going to respectively talk about employee engagement and district services. But let's dive into the student experience or student experience survey results. Over the last couple of years, the district has hovered around 4.0 for our district services. So while we haven't seen significant growth in this area, it also is an opportunity for us to maintain and improve from where we're currently at. So we have been consistently right around that 4.0 line. Throughout this last 90-day survey opportunity school year, we did have some wins that I want to share. So the percentage of our top box scores improved over the last 90 days. And this is the number or the percentage of students that scored us a 5 in the different areas. And so that percentage improved over this last survey period, which is great. We always want to celebrate wins, and also we will always have opportunities, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. I do want to highlight River Mill Elementary, as they saw an overall mean score of improvement of 0.01 over the course of the last school year, which is great. In a couple of areas I want to highlight that students were talking about and sharing with us that they regularly receive feedback from their teachers about their academic progress with a growth of 0.09, which is great. Another opportunity or another win that we can celebrate from our students' experience is that they set learning goals and track their progress, and that was up 0.08. And that has been a focus of bringing the PDSA cycles into the classroom and deepening that throughout the system. And this score reflects that work that we've been doing all year long, which is great. Also, students tell us that they believe that teachers are challenging them to think. So again, that opportunity for students to critically think and problem solve, that's reflected in this survey growth. And then this is also a nod to our effective educators, that students are telling us they know how to get help when they have a problem. So those are a few wins that I wanted to share today. Like I said earlier, there's always opportunities for improvement. And in our student engagement and student experience survey, we also have that opportunity. And what we found after reviewing and debriefing with leader action plan holders and building administrators is that leader action plans may not be owned by all of the building stakeholders. So that's an opportunity to deepen and strengthen that work. The measurements to determine if the leader action plans are being implemented with fidelity may not be present. And then lastly, the student data that's being collected by our buildings and building administrators and leader action plan holders may not accurately reflect students' school experience, or that the leader action plans aren't changing the school environment or culture as we had expected. So lastly, the next steps for me as one of the pillar leaders is to support the building leaders in building those systems to measure ways to measure the fidelity of the plan implementation. And then also help support and create better processes to collect the student voice between the surveys to better inform actions. And then lastly, help and support buildings and leaders for new opportunities to help build positive student culture throughout the systems.
I'm Kelly Hayes, and I'm going to speak with you about employee engagement. Our long-term goal in employee engagement is to measure a 4.27. While we have not yet hit that mark, we did see an increase from our fall score to the spring of a 0.03. We are currently sitting at a 4.18 district-wide, and each department's individual score has also increased. We have much to celebrate in employee engagement. Some of the wins in employee engagement, in addition to the improvement in our score, are shifting the way we are communicating expectations, rounding, and capturing employee voice to better align with what our staff members are asking for. An example of this is our stoplight priority list and our weekly staff emails sent out by the buildings. Red for things that are urgent and need to be done right away, yellow for things that are coming up soon, and green for things that need to be taken care of in the near future. We've also shifted from trying to round with our night lead custodians in person to actually emailing the rounding questions. Rounding in person was a barrier due to scheduling and time, and we were not capturing everyone's voice. By shifting to an email rounding system, we received 100% participation, allowing our supervisor to hear from each and every one of their employees. Our transportation department began a working huddle with all drivers and are sharing the agenda out 2 days in advance. When our transportation coordinator found out that emailing the agenda was a barrier for staff, she quickly pivoted to utilizing our Parent Square system to send a text message when the agenda was ready so that our staff could receive the notification on their phone and not necessarily have to rely on email. At Estacada Middle School, the administrators noticed they needed to deepen the continuous improvement work into the system and not just be the sole drivers. They needed to empower teachers to own the work, and that proved to be more effective as the middle school saw their score improve from a 4.01 to a 4.05. Another area to celebrate is in our PD of our classified staff. Our nutrition services team adapted the training for our cook to be more hands-on, capturing employee voice and increasing scores from a 3.99 to a 4.10. Our tech department built in 2 hours of self-directed PD time into their weekly schedule, allowing our tech team to remain top-notch. We know there are always opportunities to improve, and 2 of the themes we have seen over the past 90 days on our employee engagement are closing the feedback loop and staff support of a work-life balance. Our staff would like to receive feedback from supervisors right away so they can implement changes as quickly as possible. While this is always the goal, we know it does not always happen. Our admin recognize this and are committed to improving. An area for improvement in this survey question, I feel supported in balancing my workload. We have heard staff comments as well about how much information is being shared with them and when. We have also seen evidence of this as our scores in the fall, when the new year is starting and information is being shared at a rapid pace, are traditionally lower than in the spring when the routines are already in motion. Next steps in employee engagement will be to continue our action plans. We will continue to focus on our clear as kind mentality of expectations, and we are looking at improving the feedback timeline. We'll be reviewing job descriptions and evaluations for specific job roles to ensure that feedback is specific, timely, and relevant. Next up, Lisa Akins will share an update on district services.
Hi, my name is Lisa Akins, and I have the pleasure of sharing our district services results with you from our inclusive culture pillar. Our district services teams are made up of 11 departments who all are focused on Principle 3, building a culture around service. Being customer service driven has led the way to the improved results from the beginning of our journey in 2019, where we began with a 4.04 out of 5 to reaching a 4.61 with our latest spring results, an overall increase of 0.57. Accuracy, attitude, availability, operations, and timeliness are the foundations of service. All teams are doing what they can in order to allow our staff to perform at their optimum level for the overall success of our students. We're excited to continue pushing ourselves to higher levels as our journey continues. Over the past 90 days, we had so many great things happening. I'd like to share some of those wins with you today. Our goal was to maintain a 4.51, and we hit a 4.61. All departments are over a 4.1 and above, with 9 of our 11 at 4.51 or above. Our nutrition services team is up 0.28 from their fall score, reaching a 4.79, which is the highest in their history. Our technology department, through innovation and focus, went up 0.25 from their fall results, hitting a 4.80, not only their highest in history, but they are leading the way with our district services teams. Our transportation department, through aligned communication and customer service, has gone up a phenomenal 1.09 from their 2019 start. Our next win is communication at all levels. Our transportation department has sent almost 6,000 Read Day Parent Square messages, along with over 300 parent roundings, hearing the voices of our parents. Our facilities and IT teams have added a direct link to their work order survey to connect directly with our end users. Our teaching and learning team spearheaded and brought PDSAs throughout the district, creating walkthroughs for employees and parents and over 250 participants during our DHP conference, bringing our work to a national level. Our communications department has added a community liaison for deeper work within our community. We're connecting with Spanish-speaking families with family nights and sending direct communication updates via streaming services, videos, and social media on district happenings. Our third great win is basically keeping the focus and seeing results. We're streamlining operations within departments via PDSAs, checklists, and surveys. Our technology team created a PDSA regarding our guest teachers having access to files. They created a shared drive where our substitute teachers, and administrators can now see all the files for the substitute teacher to teach that day, allowing for learning to still continue on in the classrooms. Our facilities, based off a completed PDSA for spring break cleaning, there was created a checklist to communicate the expectations to our staff. Once spring break was over, they collected the data and more square footage was covered because those expectations had been communicated ahead of time. Our nutrition services team created sister site collaboration for menu continuity. And our business department, through streamlining efforts for faster turnaround times, assisted that team to have an overall increase by 0.16. These wins, along with so many others, continue to show the passion of service from these teams. While celebrating the wins, we've also found more opportunities that we'll be exploring over the next 90 days. We're going to widen the feedback channel and explore larger rounding audiences for broader feedback. Explore what else we can do, and are we doing what you need? For example, our transportation department and their Read Day emails. We want to collect the voice through a broader audience to make sure what we're doing is really helpful or not. We want to keep aligned, continue to steer the narrative, and stay ahead of the negative by creating the right communication for each stakeholder audience and delivering that at the right time will allow everyone to hear the same messaging and stay aligned. So what are our next steps? As I mentioned earlier, timeliness is one of the service foundations, and although this was our lowest score across the board, we still achieved a 4.51. We want to be able to support those departments who may be stuck in their growth of timeliness. We'll look at processes, hear how they're communicating their timelines, use cross-collaboration with service teams who have the higher scores. We'll be concentrating on lifting these service teams as they move into the next 90-day cycle. Jason, Kelly, and I want to thank all of our teams for the phenomenal jobs they're doing across the board. Thanks and have a great day.
Hello, my name is Maggie Kelly, and I'm the Communications Director for the Estacada School District. Today, I'm going to be sharing some of the wins and opportunities in the Engaged Families and Community pillar. To start, as you can see with our score, we've been pretty steady over the past few years, but we did break into new territory this spring with a 4.02 score. Anything 4 or above we're happy with, but we really want to get in that 4.5 and above range. So we definitely have more room to push, but we're excited about this new territory. As you can see in our wins on our parent experience survey, as I said, we reached a new high, which we're very excited about. Estacada Middle School also saw noteworthy growth in their 2 lowest scoring areas, and that was parents receiving feedback on how well their child is learning and receiving positive communication on their child. This was from an intentional effort to send home regular progress reports, teachers connecting with families via tools like Parent Square and SMORE, and a lot of intentional outreach. Additionally, another win that we saw was during recent strategic planning outreach opportunities where we were able to reach a broad section of the community. Both staff and families ranked communication both as something this district does well and as something that they would like us to continue to focus on. In our areas for opportunity, we have 1, families are still continuing to say that they desire more individual communication on student academic performance. So this is something that we still need to continue to focus on. We hope to do some more rounding with families to really get an idea of how we can best meet those needs. An additional opportunity was a new lower scoring item for our buildings was that families expressed a concern regarding student discipline. Not knowing what student discipline is occurring in buildings, hearing information from their students. So this tells us that we have an opportunity to be really proactive in informing families on what our discipline policies are, and even when we can't communicate because of student privacy on an issue, still letting families know what policies we followed and that their concerns are being heard. Lastly, our next steps in this pillar are focusing on strong onboarding of staff and families as we go into the new school year. We have a lot of communication platforms and tools that, when utilized well, can be really effective. But during our fall survey, we saw a lot of parent overwhelm with all these tools. So we really want to ensure this fall that we're focusing on onboarding families well and giving them the tools they need to succeed. And on that vein as well, ensuring that our staff has the tools they need to appropriately and efficiently communicate with families. Again, there's a lot of tools, so we hope to streamline those and just ensure that families and staff have a good understanding of what each tool does and how they can customize communication to meet their and their child's needs. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Mike Ware, Executive Director of Operations for the Estacada School District. Today I'm going to be presenting on the last 90-day cycle of the up-to-date buildings and facilities pillar. A quick results review process here. We wanted to show our trends of data over the last few years. This year, May of 2023, we did meet and exceed our goal of a 4.09. It is important to note that in October of 2022, we changed our focus from the student engagement, my school is clean, to parent engagement, the school is clean and maintained. So instead of polling and surveying our students on this data or this indicator, we're now surveying our parents. Some wins to highlight over the last 90 days. Our overall mean score increased by 0.35. That's a very significant increase. I'm very satisfied with that result. We increased awareness of our current facility needs. This was a very big focus of ours, as our community and our recent poll indicated that our community, our parents, didn't have a clear assessment or what our facilities need and the current condition of our facilities. We did this through various different methods. One of them was our long-range facility planning, which involved many of our community members, staffing from all levels of the district, through different outreaches and committee meetings. This was a few-month process where we collected their voice, their feedback, and their input on evaluating our current facility needs and where the district needs to go next. Another final win to highlight is through a community and staff polling, recent one. Below, or basically what the district is doing is successfully, and number 3 comes in, keeping facilities maintained at 54%. That is a very significant win for us to highlight, as we'll talk about some of the current needs that we have in our district. 2 opportunities to focus on in that same community and staff polling. Number 2 at 45, just over 45%, and new high school or significant upgrades within the district is needed. Again, this is our community, our employees giving their voice on what needs to be addressed in a survey, as well as number 2, a total need. In the next 10 years, there are over $40 million in facility repairs in need, and this is just high priority items. This doesn't include improvements to the learning environment, such as modern classrooms, indoor air quality or air conditioning, and additional space. Additional space is a very big need for us right now, as we're feeling at capacity at many different levels of our district. Some data to highlight there is since 2001, the city of Estacada has seen a 71% growth in its population. And then since the pandemic, it's actually, the city of Estacada has been over a 21% increase in the population. So we're feeling that growth, which is a good thing, but we need to address some major needs within our facilities and capacity within our district. And then next steps, explore aggressively. In the last 2 years, in the last 2 years, the district has received over $5.2 million in grants and donations towards capital improvement projects. This doesn't include ESSER federal relief funds, E-rate, or other emergency funds. So we're going to be continuing to explore, find more resources out there to help address the need that we have until we're able to do it through a capital construction bond. It's also important to note that as a next step, we'll be making some adjustments to the pillar title and focus as we transition into a new 5-year strategic plan. The pillar will now be titled on Safety and Operational Services, with a continued focus on supporting student success, employee experience, and strong partnerships through service excellence, improved systems, maximizing resources, and safe, warm, and dry facilities. That is your 90-day report on the up-to-date buildings and facilities. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christina Irish. I'm the Director of Finance. I'm here today to speak to you about the Sustainable and Accountable Finances pillar. For the finance pillar, one of the survey results we've used is I feel the organizational level resources are allocated to maximum effectiveness across the organization. You can see here how that goal has resulted over the last few years. For this last cycle, our goal was a 3.86. We're very excited that we did reach that goal, but we know there still is room for improvement. For wins, a big win was that increased score. It increased by 0.17 from our fall and a 0.06 from last spring at the same time. We're very excited, but we hope to keep that going up. Our second win was we prepared for the first time an annual comprehensive financial report. And with that report, we submitted for 2 awards. At this time, we did receive notice that we received one of those awards from Association of School Business Officials, ASBO. The award is a Certificate of Excellence in Finance Reporting, and that was for our 2022 financial reports. We're very excited about this because does show that we are working hard to be transparent. And it also does give us some great opportunities if we do need to go out for financing or bonds. We could get a lower interest rate. And our third goal was, because of the district's commitment to create reserves, we were able to respond in some great ways to district needs throughout the year. One of those was our capital improvement projects, our brand new turf field, which we know has really benefited the school district. The second was that we were able to respond to staffing needs and classroom needs with extra FTE. And then finally, for our next budget, the 2023-24 budget, we were able to use a PERS reserve to respond to a higher PERS rate. Opportunities that we have in the finance pillar, we are working hard to find out what questions our stakeholders have about the district finances. We're going to be doing surveys and rounding to try to find out more of those questions. And then we're going to use tools such as Inside Estacada, News Report, and other ways to respond to those questions. The second opportunity we have is the district has more needs than what our budget allows. So we're going to work on finding different revenue sources to reach those needs, such as grants, donations, and maybe even a possible future bond. The next step in our finance pillar is we're going to work hard to continue to be transparent regarding district financing. We're going to work hard to share the why behind the district's financial decisions. We're going to continue involving the district leadership in our budget process. This has been a goal and it's something we've moved far in the last couple of years, but we want to continue moving that so each building leader takes ownership for part of the budget. And then we're going to continue preparing that award-winning financial reports. Thank you very much for your time, and we're very excited about our next steps and our next cycle.
Hello, I'm Amy Mikesell, principal of Estacada High School. It's my pleasure to be able to share with you the wins and opportunities that we've experienced at the high school over the last 90 days. As you can see, here's our fall to spring scorecard. That is my accountability and measurement of the success of Estacada High School through especially the stakeholder voice. As you can see, on the far right columns, there are colors indicating the success and or opportunities that the high school still has ahead of them. Red indicates an area that we still are working on. And one thing I'd like to note is that very first indicator is student proficiency in essential learning standards. And as of last week, the high school was at approximately 70% of students passing all of their learning standards in math and English language arts. And even just this morning when I checked, we were at 72%. So progress is being made and teachers are working with students to ensure that progress continues. A couple of things I'd like to highlight is the blue categories are places that we've exceeded the goal that we had set back in the fall. Those two areas are around parent experience, both in the overall parent score for our survey and in our facility goal of our facility is clean and well maintained. A shout out to our maintenance department. They do a great job ensuring that our school is ready for students every day. So through those scores, we've been able to identify wins and opportunities. As you can see, some of the wins that our school has experienced through the voice of students is they appreciate the leadership of their principal. There is a small increase in that area. They are appreciating the healthy food choices that our nutrition department has been working to provide them. And I will say the nutrition department has done such a great job of pairing with students to ensure that student voice is being heard and students have a say in what they're seeing come out of our kitchen. And then continued growth in the ISET goals and track my progress is an area that I just want to highlight because it's been such a focal point for the high school to ensure that we are working side by side with students first that they understand where they need to focus in their proficiency towards our essential learning standards and helping them set goals goals and track that progress throughout the year. Our parents are reporting that students are being recognized for good work and behavior at school. That's an area that we've been focusing on through our student council. They've been working with students to provide Student of the Month recognition. We also have our Ranger Pride recognition, where teachers are recognizing students for doing what's right. And that was a significant growth this year of a 0.4. Parents are also reporting that school staff as a whole demonstrate a genuine concern for their child, with an increase of 0.33 that puts us at a 4.14. This is also attributed to teachers intentionally making time to connect with students through our rounding process to ensure that students are seen and heard at Estacada High School, which all leads to parents an increase in a 0.29 of parents being proud to say that they have a ranger as a student. With our staff, they are reporting through our surveys that they're feeling very cared for through school leadership. They also feel supported by the leadership to ensure that they have what they need to do their job. And the organization as a whole is supporting honest two-way communication. And although it was a small increase in the last 90 days, I just want to note that we've increased in that area almost 0.5 from this time last year. So with wins, there always comes opportunities. So again, through our survey data and the input from stakeholders, we've been able to identify some opportunities. With students, we continue to work through the indicator that students are nice and show respect to each other at my school. This has consistently been a low scoring indicator at Estacada High School. And so we're working with students and staff in order to try different initiatives or actions to be able to support growth in that area. In addition, one thing that students have been telling us through this survey data is that their teachers need to ask them more around how they best learn. Our parents have reported that they still would like to get more feedback around how their student is doing here at Estacada High School. For our staff, they would like to ensure that they receive feedback on their strengths as an employee and also have more opportunity to provide feedback on decisions that are affecting their job. To talk about next steps, I'd like to introduce Vice Principal Leah Rydell.
Hello. As we look at taking steps to implement small changes to improve the opportunities we've just identified, we will set the following actions into place. For students, all teachers will utilize a learning inventory at the beginning of the year. This information will be used to plan instructional practices and activities and will pair with our rounding practices that we have in the classrooms. For parents, Estacada High School will continue to provide parents and guardians with biweekly progress reports so they can continue to receive accurate, timely feedback about how well their children are learning at our school. Finally, with staff, the Estacada High School administration will publish the building leadership team agendas in advance so that will allow staff to connect with building leadership team members and provide input to bring with them to those meetings. We look forward to working with all stakeholders to further our continuous improvement efforts at Estacada High School. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Corinne Johnson, principal at Rivermill Elementary.
And I'm Trevor Searing, Vice Principal at Rivermill Elementary.
This scorecard represents our growth and opportunities within this school year. Here we would like to highlight two specific areas. The first is related to student success. As of now, 88% of our students have shown proficiency related to their math and English language arts essential learning standards. We recognize it's not yet 100% of our students, but our students are performing well and closing learning gaps for our students, which is a great celebration. We have some areas that are orange in the continuous improvement column, and this means that we made progress toward our goal, but did not yet meet it. We are thankful for the feedback so we can continue to focus on those areas in order to improve. While we did not yet meet these goals, we do want to highlight the green and blue indicated on the performance improvement side of our scorecard. This is a celebration because all of our scores are at a 4 out of 5 or above, and that's a celebration that we've been able to maintain high levels of success.
And when we take the opportunity to look at some wins to continue to celebrate, we have some data from our surveys. First and foremost is with our students. Their score was a 4.29, which was an increase of 0.01. The students said to us that they enjoy specials and electives. So that would be library, led by Debbie Tubergen. It would also be PE, led by Robert Franks. And finally, it would be music, led by Daniel Sizowitz. The students also reported that their family is treated nicely or with respect. And finally, the students said that their principal is a good leader. When we look at the parents' survey, the parents' survey score was a 4.14. And although that's a decrease of 0.14, we do have some things to celebrate. Number one, I'm treated with respect at my school. So we're thankful that both the parents and the students feel that way. Number two, the parents feel that and believe that the teachers, staff, and administration at this school demonstrate a genuine concern for their child. And finally, with our parents, they believe that their child's learning is a high priority at this school. With our staff, when we look at them, their score was a 4.12, which was an increase of 0.03. The staff told us that they work in an organization where employees regularly share and exchange ideas, and that's critical for student success. The staff also said they have a clear understanding of the mission and goals of their organization. And finally, the staff said they have a sense of pride to tell people where they work, and we are very proud of being able to work in the Estacada School District.
Right. As with anything, we wish to celebrate our successes, but we also want to look at areas in which we can continue to improve and grow. Our students have informed us that they would like to be better treated with kindness and respect. That is an area for us to continue to work on to be able to make it a best learning environment for our students. They've also reported that they may not like attending school each day. And we see a direct correlation between the two, whereas if students are nice and kind, then there would be a higher likelihood of wanting to come to school each day. Our parents have informed us that they want the school rules to be enforced consistently, and they don't yet feel that that is happening. They also have indicated that their child's safety at school is something that they would like to be able to see improve. We agree that safety is the number one priority for our students. When parents are dropping their kids off to school with us each day, we want them to know that we are going to create a safe environment for their child. So these are areas we will continue to prioritize. Our staff, via the survey, have reported to us that they would like some ongoing feedback relating to how they can improve their practice. And we are thankful for that. As a continuous improvement school and district, we want people who want to continue to develop and improve their craft to be able to make things the best for kids. Additionally, our staff are having trouble balancing their school and their work-life balance. And so we want our staff to be able to go home and relax in the evenings, and we want to be able to help strike that balance for them. So as a system, that is something we'll continue to work on as well.
And the exciting thing is that we're not done. And so we have some next steps that we're excited to dive into. With students, our plan is to incorporate conflict resolution strategies into the morning meeting. As Principal Johnson said, they're not feeling like they're coming to school, want to come to school. There's not safety there. There's not kindness and respect. So our goal is to create some of these strategies for them so that when they're here, they can have that conflict resolution and be able to treat each one another with respect and kindness. With our students also, we want to meet with them and have some empathy interviews to better understand from them where are these incidents occurring where there's a lack of respect and kindness. So we need to hear from the students and gather their voice. With our parents, you heard that parents were wondering about why rules are not consistently being enforced. And we want to hear more from the parents. We're very thankful that they gave us that feedback, but we now need to elicit some more feedback from them about why they feel those rules are not being consistently enforced. And with our staff, we love it, as Principal Johnson said, that we're a continuous improvement school, and our teachers and staff want to be continually improving. And so our goal is to provide 3 to 5 staff members a week specific feedback highlighting strengths and opportunities for improvement. And we'd also like to take this opportunity to say thank you to our students, our staff, our parents, our community. Thank you so much for making Rivermill a great place to be and a great place to work. And as always, go Timbers.
Hello, Estacada Middle School families and the Estacada community at large. My name is Ben Hargrave, and I'm the principal at Estacada Middle School.
Hello, everyone. My name is Greg Kelly, and I am the vice principal at Estacada Middle School.
We are here today to talk with you about our progress towards meeting school-wide goals that we have set, and we're looking forward to talking with you about wins and barriers and next steps at Estacada Middle School specifically. So let's start with a snapshot of our school's scorecard. You'll notice on the right-hand side a whole bunch of different colors. Blue and green are good, orange and red not so good, and are opportunities for improvement. And you can see that overall we are improving toward meeting our school-wide goals, and we are not yet meeting the expectation yet. We're looking forward to finishing out this year strong and starting next school year strong with a clear focus on these strategic actions to have more green and blue by the next time we do this rollout for you.
Some of the wins that we've experienced in the past 90 days are as follows. First off, for our students, we are inviting on average 150 students into our read days. Of those students that are invited, about 80 attend each read day. And of the students in attendance, 94%, it's measured as an effective read day, meaning that they have improved their proficiencies or they have submitted essential work and completed it to gain greater proficiencies. Also, our employees have told us that they have a clear understanding of the mission and goals of their organization, and they feel a sense of pride when they tell people where they work. These were both top indicators on our recent spring survey. Our last win that we want to talk a little bit about is our students being able to co-define strategic actions to improve student experience, which results in adult responses and helping out how we monitor the hallways and how we help keep our bathrooms clean. This graph that you're seeing right now, although it looks complex, is showing our 4 bathrooms in the school. And as we want an upward trajectory, which we have, which is good, it means that we are having less and less bathroom or trash in the bathrooms as we go along. This is a win and a great thing. Our next graph is about our hallway transitions. We would like to see an upward trajectory. We are getting closer. The win here is that we are having students respond to this. We are getting student voice, and we are beginning to build strategic actions aligned with our students to help improve the student experience in our school.
There are many wins and celebrations that we can harvest and discuss. There's a lot of positive work happening at Estacada Middle School, and there are barriers that we need to overcome as well. One barrier that is on our minds is our response to our students who need specific interventions. We have developed a system called Flex, and so far that system has not yielded the results that we were predicting that were going to happen. The graph that you see here shows a downward trend, and we want a downward trend because that means that there are less students at risk. However, you'll notice in that purple line, which represents this academic school year, we have 11 weeks of a plateau or status quo where we're not seeing less students at risk or more students achieving. And this is a barrier that we need to dig into and we need to problem solve. So despite Flex and our successes with Read Day, we are still not seeing the results that we want, and we need to ask different questions to help us accelerate this data. And like Mr. Kelly just talked about with wins, our students are co-developing and co-creating strategic actions. But the progress monitoring of the goals and of the actions that our students are creating is low. We have roughly 6% of our students who are helping us monitor progress. and we want that number to go up as well. Lastly, I feel supported in balancing my work responsibilities is a lowest rated indicator at Estacada Middle School as we consider employee experience. One of the barriers that we need to overcome is helping our staff connect dots between their daily work in the classroom and the strategic actions that we have set in place. How can they be the same work rather than lots of different work? Considering and thinking about next steps, we need to continue to act on student voice to improve hallway kindness and respect. One idea that came out of a rounding session last week with students was to change the entrance and exit doors of specific classrooms that have 2 doors to decrease hallway congestion. And that is a great example of acting on student voice to improve a strategic action that students have set. We also want to cascade more clearly our school-wide goals into our students' daily schedules, whether that's during life class or our daily virtual announcements. We need to continue to engage our students in cycles of inquiry, and we need to continue to ask students to plus, delta, or think more critically about the systems that we have here at our school. We also want to make our achievement data more visible to all of our families, and we want to set that data on the table and publicize student achievement data more transparently and openly with our community. We hope that you enjoy a great summer, and we are thinking about you as you have time away from school. We're looking forward to an update with you in the fall. Go Tigers!
Hi, my name is Christina Anderson, and I serve as the principal at Clackamas River Elementary.
Hi, my name is James Wolf, and I'm the vice principal at Clackamas River Elementary.
Today, we're going to be talking with you about the successes and the opportunities that we see at Clackamas River. We're going to start off with our wins from the spring semester. One of the big things we saw is on our employee engagement, our scores overall increased. We went up from a 3.77 in the fall to a 4.07. We also saw that 2 of our lowest opportunities increased by 0.4. Those where I feel the organization level resources are allocated to maximize effectiveness across the organization. And I believe organization level information is communicated in a timely manner across the organization. We're happy to see both of those increase as it shows that we are doing a more proactive job of getting information from the district level all the way down to our employees. We also find that our number 1 score was that there is purpose in the work we are doing. It's exciting to see that our staff knows just how important the work is. Surveys also indicate as a top 3 for both employee, student, and parent that people are feeling they are treated with respect at Clackamas River. In our student engagement, we saw that students recognize that learning is important at CRE. We also saw that staff are supporting our administrators as seen through that student voice. Our top score this time was my principal is a good leader with a 4.72 on the student survey. Parent engagement, we saw our bottom 2 scores on the parent survey significantly increase, which tells us that our current plans are working. I regularly receive feedback from school staff on how well my child is doing, went to a 3.81 from a 3.57. And I received positive phone calls, emails, or notes about my child from the school, ended at a 3.84 from a 3.57.
With our wins, we also look for opportunities of how we can improve. So starting with our employee engagement, there's a trend that shows that we have a dip in our score in the fall time. So we want to see how can we continue to create momentum so our scores continue to increase as we start the school year. Student engagement, our low student engagement score went down. When we need more student voice to tell us what will make the difference and show how the students at CRE are kind and respectful to each other. Parent engagement, overall participation went low. How can we get parents to engage in the surveys and improvement talks that lead to a greater change. Parent engagement. What do parents see as valuable feedback? We send home information regarding students' progress in academics. So we want to know, what do parents want to see? So when we look at our opportunities, we need to create some action steps. Here are our action steps right now. Employee engagement. Our first action step is to develop a solution for cascading organizational information, including the why behind it, all the way down. Our student engagement, our second action step, create a student panel to develop action steps in the fall along with our school-wide agreements. Our parent engagement, which is our third action step, is to continue our action plans. We're seeing increases in our scores. At every staff meeting, we take the first 5 minutes to fill out postcards that are sent home directly to our students in our building about the great work that they're doing and the improvement that's occurring. Our classroom teachers, our paras, our specialists are asked to write down the first and last name of every student and send that home to them. We also send home red folders are sent home every Monday of the week with graded work. That grade level work is showing that how proficient students are at the work that they are doing inside their classrooms that shows that they're meeting those standards.
Okay, so when we look at our fall to spring data, we use our scorecard to organize that information. So the first thing we look at is our continuous improvement cycles. And did we move forward as far as we wanted to? When we look at that, we see that we have 2 areas that fell below a 3 in our student engagement and our parent engagement score. And while we were really happy to see that those scores were still above a 4, we know that there is work to be done and voice to be collected so we can continue to move forward with those areas. We also look at our performance overall, and we know that we came in with a 3.2 this year. We were happy to see that we have a 3 or above in almost all areas. We also know that even though our improvement was great for our sustainable finances and accountability, that is an area where we want to continue to move forward so that we can get that score up in the performance. We hope that you have enjoyed listening to our information about Clackamas River, and we look forward to bringing you more data in the fall that supports the growth that is happening at our school.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Fulham-Whiter, our elementary instructional coach, and I'm going to talk to you about wins, barriers, and next steps at the elementary level. So we have a lot of wins in elementary. One of those is that 100% of our elementary classroom teachers are utilizing PDSAs and continuous improvement tools within their classroom for academic standards. Another win is that 100% of our PLC teams are recording common data for both math and language arts. So they're going through the deform model process with both math and language arts. Another win is that we have 86% of our elementary classroom teachers that have communicated that continuous improvement has positively impacted their professional practice and impacted student achievement in a positive way. A barrier that we have at the elementary and all levels is that we have a discrepancy between our essential learning standard proficiency data and our state testing proficiency data. And we would really like to see that aligned, so we have some investigating and some work to do in that. Another barrier is that we have inconsistency in the actions of our PLC teams regarding the deform model PLC process for all essential standards. Even though we are a model PLC district, we have some tightening up to do of expectations and what we do each week. Another barrier is that some of our teachers are unclear about how to incorporate continuous improvement practices into daily lessons, their routines, and procedures. And this is actually an exciting barrier to have because it shows where we are in our process and the next steps that teachers are ready for. So our next steps to move us forward is to strengthen our PLC process by developing and utilizing what right looks like scoring rubrics and process documents for PLC accountability and reflection, making sure that we're doing that the way it's intended. Another next step is to improve process of selecting and implementing essential learning standards in the classroom instruction and assessment. And in hopes of doing that, we can close that gap of proficiency data between standards and state assessments. And finally, a next step for us is going to be continue to provide professional development, support, and guidance for continuous improvement within the PLC and the classrooms. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rachel Perry, and I am the instructional coach at Estacada Middle School. Thank you for coming to the 90-day huddle, and we are going to be discussing the wins, barriers, and next steps for specifically the middle school. One win that we have is 4 teacher leaders have begun to exemplify building PDSAs with students regularly. And 2 teachers have begun letting students lead the PDSA conversation to improve their own classroom outcomes. Another win is 100% of our PLCs are dedicated to putting data on the table to move student success forward and sharing all students' success data rather than just their rosters. One barrier we are facing: there is a discrepancy between our ELSs, student data dashboard success, and SBAC data, just as Lindsay was describing earlier. One more barrier we have: PLCs are painting the picture very well for each other. However, this has left little time for working together to problem solve questions 3 and 4 in the Do-4 model outside of our read days and flex. The next steps we are going to take is PLCs are working toward increasing the pace of painting the picture for each other and moving towards more time to plan for intervention and enrichment in Tier 1 instruction. Another next step: teachers are beginning to see how the data is differing and problem solving why the differences between their gradebooks, dashboard, and state testing exist.
So my name is Kate Dean. I am the instructional coach at Estacada High School, and I'm here to share some of the wins, barriers, and next steps from our past 90 days of improvement work. Our first win is 100% of teachers at Estacada High School are using student data trackers and regularly rounding with students. Due to the use of these tools, students are reporting a sense of clarity around exactly what they need to do in order to demonstrate proficiency in all essential learning standards. Our second win is 90% of our 9th graders finish semester 1 on track. This growth in the 9th grade success program has resulted in Estacada High School being identified as the program with the highest level of growth out of the Center for High School Success National Network. One of our barriers has been a discrepancy between our essential learning standard proficiency data and state testing proficiency data, similar to what has been identified at both the elementary and middle school levels. An additional barrier has been lack of regular intervention time built into our daily schedule. This has led to heavy reliance on read day attendance to take advantage of reteaching and reassessment opportunities. As far as our next steps, we have already begun working on implementing a literacy standard in every course next year that includes learning targets outlining the needed skills to make sense of text and compose writing for each particular discipline. Our hope is that by incorporating literacy instruction into each and every course, we will see a direct impact on our overall SBAC scores. And then finally, our last next step is we will be building intervention time into the daily schedule for the 23-24 school year as a way to guarantee students time during the school day to take advantage of reteaching and reassessment opportunities. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Sarah Lawson. I'm the transportation coordinator for the Estacada School District, and I'm excited to share with you the transportation department's 3-2-1 for the last 90 days. Some of the goals that we've had, some of our wins, and ways that we can also improve. First, here's our scorecard. As you can see, there's a lot of wins to celebrate, but there's also some areas for improvement. Some of the wins that we have to celebrate. The first pillar that we're going to talk about is student engagement. As a department, we have seen a decrease in student incidents. We've been able to utilize Parent Square as an efficient communication platform. And our drivers have had 221 positive student rewards for the 22-23 school year. This is almost triple what we did last school year. The next pillar that we're going to talk about is employee experience. We've had 10 weekly huddle agendas shared out 48 hours in advance. This is something my team really wanted, and so I've strived hard to get this to them. We've had a great opportunity where we've had 5 huddles that included a guest speaker who was able to cascade district updates to the transportation team. The last pillar that we're going to talk about is district services. The transportation department has been able to raise its district service score by 0.16. We have sent out over 6,000 read day communications to families in the district. Also, we've been able to provide after-school transportation twice a week for Estacada Middle School's homework club. We want to strive to always provide the extra transportation for our students. Now it's time for barriers. First, we'll talk about student engagement. Staffing shortages. It's no secret that transportation staffing has had issues all over the country. We're no different. Finding qualified safe drivers to join our team hasn't been the easiest thing to accomplish. The second barrier we've had is opportunities to focus on capturing positive student behavior. In the transportation department, we have our students for such a short amount of time that we want to find better ways to capture the positive behavior and reward our students. Our second set of barriers is from our employee experience. Our transportation staff needs more IT training. We've made huge strides, but this is something that we're going to work on. Next is scheduling conflicts with our out-of-district drivers. When our drivers have to drive for a school that's not in district, they can't always be with us as a team, and so we're going to try to adjust some of that. Lastly, in district services, 2 of the barriers that we've seen, once again, is staffing shortages. This is our biggest barrier that we've seen all year long. The other barrier has been navigating different communication systems district-wide. Next steps. In our student services, we're going to work with schools to schedule time for our transportation staff to join assemblies. Schools have monthly assemblies, and we'd love to have drivers involved in those. Next is employee experience. We're going to adjust our huddle times to better accommodate those out-of-district drivers. That way we can all be together as a team. Lastly, in district services, we're going to work with the buildings to build a singular communication system. Everybody on the same page, take all of the confusion out of the system. This is my 3-2-1. I'm really excited to see where we can go in the next 90 days. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kyla Portwood, and I'm the Nutrition Services Coordinator with the Estacada School District. Here I will be showing my 90-day scorecard and discussing our opportunities and our growth. This is an overview of our scorecard. Overall, it's a great improvement in the last 90 days, where you can see our district services pillar had the highest ever number at 4.17, and we were also able to identify some opportunities off of this scorecard. Some of our wins that were directly connected with our pillars are: we implemented a new ordering system for cooks, and that way they are able to order for their own kitchen, and that helped with menu disruption and empowering them to make their own substitutions within the kitchen. We created a live warehouse inventory, which helped with eliminating incomplete orders, and we conducted a hands-on computer training class with our technology department. We also appointed intentional office hours for the lead cooks, so that way they are able to be successful on their new ordering system and conduct sister site meetings where they get together and discuss what's going well in the kitchens, what can be improved, and how we can make it more consistent throughout the district. Through intentional recruiting efforts, we were able to provide 3 substitute positions and 1 volunteer positions. And we've also implemented a monthly email that goes out that shows the forecasting for the following month. Sustainable finance and accountability. We received a supply chain assistance funds of over $50,000. And we were also gifted an additional $7,000 towards local produce by the Department of Defense. With these funds, we were able to provide more produce, fresher menu items, and we saw an overall increase in our participation rates of just over 9%. We created a more collaborative process for grant writing and collecting stakeholders' voices on what we wanted to submit for. Some of our opportunities were food and supply inflation of an average of 13.5%. We also had some trouble locating funding for equipment and kitchen upgrades. We also had some trouble cultivating an environment based on technology-driven data. The team navigating multiple communication platforms was a challenge. Limited time for training opportunities. Staffing and schedule disruptions led to inconsistent office hours. Some of our next steps will be continuing to connect with families and students in the community for department improvement and menu planning options. We will connect with outside entities to locate grant funding opportunities and create financial transparency on our operations dashboard. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to the next 90 days.
Hello, Estacada families. My name is John Simpson. I serve as the facility coordinator for the Estacada School District. Welcome to the facilities maintenance portion of our 90-day rollout. This is my scorecard as it pertains to the last 90 days. As you can see, we've had some great wins and opportunities for improvement as well. My lowest score was for sustainable finance, which was a 3.33. The score has not changed over the past 90 days. My highest score was for district services, which was a 4.77 out of 5. Some of the wins I've had over the last 90 days for up-to-date buildings and facilities is the My School is Clean score went from 3.74 in October to 4.09 this fall. Staff and students are saying we're providing a clean, safe place for teaching and learning. District service went from 4.61 to 4.77. We're increasing our district service score to near perfect. Our cleaning score district-wide was a 3.77 out of 4. We've completed 776 work orders in the last 90 days. 15% of those have been preventative maintenance related. We've also completed 98.3% of all requests in 7 days or less. My department has increased the PDSA participation with all leads. We've had some great adjustments and adoptions over the last 90 days. Strong, inclusive, collaborative culture wins. We've implemented a communication strategy with emailing rounding questions rather than coming in during the nights. This has gotten a lot better response from night shift folks. This resulted in 100% success rate with all rounding questions sent out to staff. Strong, inclusive, collaborative culture wins. Our department has implemented some all-inclusive playground outdoor activities for each elementary school. We've done hopscotch, foursquare, ADA basketball hoops. Some of our custodial staff remove center bars 2 times a day so that equipment can be brought in and out for students to play with. Students were very excited to see us doing the foursquare and hopscotch. We did this intentionally during recess to see students' reactions and answer any questions they may have. It was a big hit. We've also started tracking student shout-outs on Google Sheets for each department. This is for any positive interactions we may have with the students to better tell our story on how facilities contribute to teaching and learning in a positive approach. After kicking back some work orders that were vague, we're now getting all the information needed to complete each work order the first time out, which is increased staff morale and participation levels. Here are some of my barriers over the last 90 days. For up-to-date buildings and facilities, staff tend to sway away from adding data to our dashboard on a consistent basis. We've also shared quarterly budget info for their building department funds with the leadership team, but it hasn't quite been with the information that they've requested. District spending scores is a 3.33. I need to find a way to increase this score. This has not changed over the last 2 90-day cycles. I started dividing facilities, grounds, maintenance budget and sharing accurate funds with each department and building so that leads have ownership in district spending while providing staff with meaningful data. Strong, inclusive, collaborative culture. How to track participation for hopscotch and Foursquare to see if more is needed. 2, what else can facilities add so students of all needs can play together without any barriers? Up-to-date buildings and facilities next steps. I'm going to continue to track cleaning scores, building walkthroughs, and biweekly lead meetings while implementing more meaningful PDSAs that better contribute to the My School is Clean pillar goal. Sustainable finance and accountability to better support the district pillar by frequent rounding, biweekly lead meetings, and sharing department budget data with staff on a monthly level. Develop a communication system that meets the needs of all direct reports. Strong, inclusive, and collaborative culture. I'm going to add more hopscotch Foursquare to each elementary playground so more students can participate. And I also need to research what else can be added for students to enjoy. Thank you for watching the 90-day rollout for facilities and maintenance.
Hello, my name is Christy Cheshire, and I serve as the Director of Technology for the Estacada School District. This is the Technology Department's Fall to Spring Data Scorecard. The scorecard shows us that there are areas that indicate growth and areas that provide opportunities to grow. Some of our wins. The wins that we can celebrate during this 90-day cycle are our district services score was 4.8 out of 5. This is a 0.25 increase from fall 2022 to spring 2023. The goal was to maintain a 4.55 on district services. Our strategic action included maintaining boots on the ground and maintaining the technology department's service level agreement in our ticket system. The technology department closed 6,066 tickets from the start of this school year until the end of April 2023. Our average response time is 0.8 hours. Our service level agreement is 24 hours. Our average resolution time was 7.5 hours, and our service level agreement for that is actually 7 days. Our next win is professional growth. Our techs completed 14 hours of professional training during this cycle. The goal was to increase the employee engagement score by 0.05. We had a 0.08 increase. Our strategic action included creating professional development time for the tech staff. We utilized read time in the afternoons for this training. Our techs had 14 hours of training during this cycle that included software, hardware, security, and best practices of technologies in schools. Our third win was the Crybook, which is Chromebook repairs you can do. This was a major win district-wide. The goal was to increase the parent engagement survey question. My child has the necessary classroom supplies and equipment for learning by 0.05. The score increase was 0.03 from 4.14 to 4.17. While this didn't meet our goal, it was still a win. Through intentional roundings, it was determined that a quick guide would be very helpful to resolve simple issues with district devices. A PDSA was done, and the result of that PDSA was to adopt the Cry Card. We distributed a physical Cry Card throughout the district and provided the Cry Card in an electronic version through district bookmarks, both for students and staff. Providing this quick guide alleviates frustrations and provides tools for students, staff, parents, and any stakeholders working with district devices. Preliminary data is showing us that we have a 20% decrease in Chromebook repair tickets. Some barriers the technology department experienced were, while providing essential services and communications to students and families, we were overwhelming the communication chain. We need to communicate better with our district stakeholders and work with our communication department to make sure that we're following district protocols. Another barrier that the tech department experienced was that while we established professional development, we didn't establish norms and goals that would include data and tracking for staff design learning pathways. We want to bring in an alignment with the district values and also provide ourselves with more data than just the hours spent, including what types of items we'll learn and what pathways will lead us to an end goal. The technology department's next steps are to continue with intentional rounding with purpose. During the last cycle, we implemented rounding intentionally, and what we learned was it provides many opportunities to provide change and growth for the district and all of the stakeholders. We want to develop intentional rounding strategies. We want to include all stakeholders in our intentional roundings, including students and parents. And we want to utilize rounding data to resolve any barriers that we have in regards to communication and staff development. When your intention is clear, so is the way. Alan Cohen. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being a part of this year's Rollout experience. I hope that you can see the great talent of leaders that the Estacada School District has collected in an effort to make the Estacada School District a best-in-class school district. If you've made it this long, you truly are committed to the success of our tremendous school district. We are so proud of where we are, and we are so excited to watch us all get to where we're going together. Have a great rest of the school year, and thank you so much.